Hi everybody, Ian Bremmer here in Mexico City, a little bit closer to where the action appears to be heading, the United States and Venezuela. Basically, President Trump talking about regime change, giving an ultimatum to dictator Nicolás Maduro, leave with your family to safety or else you will be removed. That is, been stepping up now with America's naval capabilities arrayed, in addition to 15,000 troops around Venezuela off the coast. You are not going to be putting that kind of military capacity in place, and you're certainly not going to be making that kind of an ultimatum as Trump unless you're planning on using it. So indeed, military strikes against Venezuela look pretty imminent. Now, why is Trump interested in doing this? It's certainly not because Maduro is an illegitimate dictator, though that is indeed the case. He stole an election, and most of the Venezuelans that want him out and those that would support the United States being involved in that would do so precisely because he has stolen an election. But that's not Trump's interest. Trump doesn't care if you're a dictator or if you're a Democrat, as long as you're doing a deal with him. The issue for Trump is much more about the drug export to the United States. It's also about the largest oil reserves in the world. And you know that anyone that comes in on the back of Trump's military operations is going to be very interested in cutting a deal to give the United States preferred access to those investments. So this case, it is indeed in large part about the oil. Same way that if the Ukrainians wanted Trump to continue to provide intelligence and military support, sell the weapons, they were going to have to cut a critical minerals deal with the U.S. The United States took a percentage of intel after Biden granted them U.S. taxpayer money. Now the United States government owns a piece of it. That is what you'd be looking at in Venezuela. But how do you get from here to there? We've seen Maduro just in past hours giving a public speech. He certainly is not about to flee the country, but that speech was with a large number of civilians, women, children, all around him. He's not doing speeches where he's like on a dais by himself. He's in places where, when he appears, where if you tried to take him out, a lot of civilian casualties would also be in place. He recognizes there is an imminent danger to him. He's not going to make it easy for the United States unless the military, under pressure, were to go after him themselves. So look, what are we looking at? Number one, it's hard to imagine that this is going to be seen as legitimate, given that Trump is not actually in favor of democracy around the world. So the ideological argument is undermined. The rule of law argument is undermined. The narco-terrorist argument is real, though Trump hasn't applied it consistently around the world. The oil argument is real, but certainly not something that's going to get a lot of support. Most Americans don't support military activity against Venezuela itself, so it's not popular. And certainly this wasn't something that Trump ran on when he was running for president. He said he was going to end wars. He wasn't planning on starting one. He wasn't talking about regime change. That's a neocon, discredited ideology around the world that Trump couldn't be farther from. It's one of the reasons he couldn't stand John Bolton, who briefly was his national security advisor in his first term. And you don't have allies, and that are supporting it. The Europeans don't support it. The Mexicans, this government strongly opposes it. Colombia, next door, opposes it. And Brazil opposes it, the largest economy in South America. And of course, the Democrats in the United States oppose it as well. So the U.S. would be going in unilaterally without a hell of a lot of historical success in regime change, without a great deal of execution capacity from the Americans in pulling off something like this, without a great deal of intelligence on the ground in Venezuela. Look, I hope it goes well if it happens, and it looks like it's very likely to me, but I fear it won't, and I think it's a really bad idea. The fact that I think it's a bad idea doesn't make it unlikely. We've seen that with lots of things in the world these days, but still have to provide the analysis as you see it. So that's where we are from Mexico City on Venezuela. Hope everyone's well, and we'll talk to y'all real soon.